Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the Ki-44-I sitting at 2.3 battle rating in realistic battle. We were looking at this lovely little plane the other day and I've had some very fun matches in it and really getting me reacquainted with the Ki-44 series. That is been a long time since I flew these things, but excellent little plane this was, I have to say. The maximum speed in this plane at sea level without WEP is 484 kilometers an hour and with WEP it's 496 kilometers an hour. Go up to 4500 meters and you'll take her up to 450 kilometers an hour without WEP and 454 kilometers an hour with WEP. And finally at 6500 meters you can take her up to 390 kilometers an hour without WEP and 395 kilometers an hour with WEP. Now the WEP on this plane is inconsequential. It doesn't really make a lot of difference except on very low altitudes near sea level. It does have a little bit of effect, but that's about it. So there's nothing to write home about. But the speeds on the plane are actually very good for 2.3 battle rating. It's a fast little bugger and it's very difficult to shake this plane off. Also in a dive, the top speed in a dive is 805 kilometers an hour before it redlines and above 840 kilometers an hour before it rips apart. I have not managed to rip this plane apart, as at certain speeds this plane doesn't want to accelerate very fast anymore. I dove down at the highest from 8000 meters and I got her up to 840 kilometers an hour before I crashed into the ground. So you have initial acceleration that is very good, but in the later phases of its top speed the acceleration really starts to slow down and it gets difficult to rip this plane apart at speed. The plane also stays rather maneuverable in that dive, which is quite nice. The handling in a dive is quite superb. Control stiffening only starts very slightly at 600 kilometers an hour and it starts to become a little bit more serious around 750, but actually I have to say it stays surprisingly good even above 750, and it is, I think, compared to most other planes, easy to get the guns on targets in this plane in a dive. And it has the speed and the initial acceleration to keep up with the plane to actually shoot it out of the sky before it can escape. There will be few planes that can actually out accelerate and out dive this plane, and that is a very nice boon to have in this plane. The stall speed in the plane lies around 120 kilometers an hour, which is very good. It's a light plane with a good engine and the power to weight ratio in this plane is quite good. Firepower in the plane is decent. You are running with 2 times 12.7mm HO 103 machine guns with 250 rounds per gun, and they are supported by 2 times 7.7 Type 89 machine guns with 500 rounds per gun. I used stealth for these matches and a 600 meter convergence, which worked rather well for me. The Japanese 12.7mm seem to do quite decent damage in my matches, I have to say. Very good ammo load on the plane. You have a wide range of ammunition in this plane and you can keep firing for a long time, enough to take down 4 or 5 planes without breaking a sweat. Don't go after bombers though. You can sink a lot of ammunition in bombers in this plane. I mean, the machine guns work pretty well on wings and stuff like that and pilots, so fighters are fair game. But some of the bigger attackers and some of the bombers can definitely take all your ammunition and still fly away smoking and damaged and all that jazz, but didn't go down. I've seen that as well. But all in all, I think the firepower is decent with a very good ammo load. The acceleration in this plane for flight performance is very good in a straight line and also very good in a dive initially, but later in the dive at top speeds above 650 kilometers an hour you will see the acceleration slowly start to slack off until it almost completely disappears at the very end of your dive, and then you crash into the ground without reaching the rip speed. So it's very difficult to rip this plane actually. Energy retention in the horizontal is very good, and in the vertical it's great. It's a light plane, and the power to weight ratio, like I said, is very good, and this plane does very well in stall maneuvers, as you will see a few times in this video. Climb rate also supplements that with very good climb rate in this plane. It can definitely get up to altitude, and you can then start to proceed to attack your enemies from above most of the time, which is very good. Turn time is also great. This plane has everything, man. With the flaps it's brilliant. 465 kilometers it takes to rip off the flaps, which is a great rip speed for the flaps. You will only rip it off in a dive, because this plane doesn't have very high top speeds above that, except maybe at sea level, but then you have very low risk to rip them off, as you cannot really dive very far. So be careful with your flaps in a dive, and otherwise use them at will if you really are in a pickle in a dogfight. But even without the flaps, this plane's turn time is very, very good. The roll rate in the plane is also very good. It is not a Focke-Wulf 190, but it is not far off, let's say. Overall maneuverability very good. There is some overheating in the plane with extensive webbing, but I find it very easily manageable. When you take it off, you can stay at 100%, and the overheating cools off pretty quickly. So that's that. That's pretty good. Plane isn't very sturdy though. It is a bit of fragile plane. The damage takes quick damage when you get shot at. Doesn't matter from which angle, it always seems to be the engine that gets damaged. And the wings also don't handle the damage well for the flight model, and all in all I wouldn't call it very durable. This plane for me is a jack of all trades. It can turn well, it can boom and zoom, and it can energy fight, and it transitions very well between the rolls. It is also not very it does everything pretty decently or something, or just well. It does everything more than well, let's say. Pretty good, and that makes this plane a very good jack of all trades. More than average in the performance, I would say. Will definitely make an impact on the battlefield in the hands of an experienced pilot. That is for sure. This plane really kicks a punch, and with the guns, 4 guns at 2.3 battle rating is nice. Use them at closer ranges, which you can easily achieve by the very good maneuverability on this plane, and you will shoot planes down and have fun in it as well. I always like jack of all trades, especially if they're as good as this one, because it makes for some very, very smooth flying and some smooth transitioning between the different roles, and that makes it a joy to fly this plane. It really holds well. It feels very smooth on the controls, and it does exactly what you say. So excellent, fantastic, and a lot of fun to fly. We're in the second match right now, and we are fighting the Russians on this map. Already got a few kills under my belt, which is nice. And we are trying to get the upper hand. You saw me fight easily. You going into the fray against 5-6 opponents being around me, with only 1 or 2 allies in the neighborhood. And if you are above the enemy, as I was, then in this plane you can feel very comfortable in that position. As you saw, you can easily stall the planes out and make your adjustments while you dive. Plane responds very well. Other planes do stall out, and yeah, you can get good shots on the plane, and the guns are quite efficient, as you just saw in that pass. But like I said, you have the moments where the guns seem to lack a bit, but that is especially against the larger, more sturdy attackers and against bombers. We get an assist on that guy with a nice hit when he passed me, but unfortunately no cigar. That's also an assist, unfortunately. Not sure who started that fire in the beginning, because you can get fires from hits as well now, not just crits. And I did get a few hits on that guy, but The fire was from that other guy, I think. We do get our 5th kill there though. Which is very nice, completing the ace in the second match, and in that first match we also had 4 kills, it's very nice. And we are hunting our 6th kill here in this guy. There were a few pretty decent pilots in this match, by the way, because you always think like what kind of pilots are you facing, but in this match I had 2 level 100s and 1 level 95. With some decent stats, above average, slightly above average. So there was some good opposition here, but this plane definitely can take the opposition, there's no problem. Here we go, another good match, 5 kills in the plane with 2 assists and a first place in the team with that. Let's see what kind of rewards we got for that performance. We've got Survivor, Terror of the Sky, and on hand 42,000 Silver Lions and 2100 research points. I'll see you in the conclusion. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. Now the Ki-44-I is a plane that I flew before in AB a long time ago. So it was really, these were my first matches in RB. I flew 4 in total. I got another match with 2 kills and a death at the airfield where somebody was AFK on the airfield. And another one where I got killed by a B-34 bomber who got my engine from 2 kilometers away. And when I was going back and I was typing to some guys who were chatting with me, he came back and I noticed too late. But all in all, the performance of this plane when flown, concentrated and well is very good, and I really like this plane. A jack of all trades in my eyes, which can really transition very smoothly in the different roles. A very small target as well, I might add. So the plane is fragile, it doesn't take damage well, but you do not often take damage in this plane. It's a very sleek plane, very compact, and a joy to fly, I have to say. Guns are nice, ammo loads, and all in all I really had a blast in this plane. I was glad that I revisited it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.